John Cena made the following statement on Raw, or how I like to look at it. He made two exact opposite statements. They basically contradicted themselves in two sentences, and he said, and I quote, "I'm not going to Night of Champions to beat Brock Lesnar. I'm going to Night of Champions to beat Brock Lesnar's ass." Okay, that's what he said. I take that as two separate contradictory statements. So which do you feel is more likely? That he's not going to beat Brock Lesnar at Night of Champions, or that he is going to beat Brock Lesnar at Night of Champions?
It sounds like he just wants to beat Brock Lesnar's ass. The rest of them can kick John Cena's ass. The fact that he just focused on the ass there, he's like, I'm not gonna beat Brock Lesnar. I'm gonna beat his ass. Yeah. Well, give me some of that. That's
well, I mean, those don't exactly contradict each other. I mean,
don't they?
No. John Cena beat Brock Lesnar at Extreme Rules. He won. He didn't beat Brock Lesnar. But, according to the rule books, he did. That's what Cena was saying. Like, he won a match at Extreme Rules. He wants to beat Brock Lesnar's ass. He wants to actually beat Lesnar.
So he doesn't care about winning the title. He just wants to beat him up.
I think he would like to do both, but
he said he's not going to beat Brock Lesnar.
Okay.
He's going to beat up Brock Lesnar and hurt Brock Lesnar, but he's not going to beat him for the title.
All right, remember at Extreme Rules, Cena won the match.
That was not within the last 2 weeks. We cannot acknowledge it.
Yeah. Well, everybody else is. Technically, John Cena beat Brock Lesnar at Extreme Rules. Cena doesn't want to do that again, because he definitely did not come out on top in that encounter. Cena wants to come out on top. Just beating him, just the act of defeating him in a match, like, Cena could win by countout. He could win by DQ. But he doesn't want to do that. He wants to dominate Lesnar the way Lesnar dominated him.
Impossible, though, right?
I would like to think so.
Totally impossible.
Well, I think it's a contradictory statement. I think Brock Lesnar wins. If Brock Lesnar loses for reals, I think we have a reason to stop watching WWE. Because this makes no sense. This makes no sense to have Brock Lesnar completely dominate for however long that match was at SummerSlam. 10 minutes, if. To then have John Cena win. Doesn't make sense at all. So, I don't know. But this whole thing, I mean, we're mostly just getting video packages to build up this match, especially from the Brock Lesnar side. So, do you guys feel this is more appropriate and compelling than in-ring interviews and segments, like we would normally get?
I think so. I mean, considering that it's Lesnar we're talking about, I wouldn't trust him on the live mic.
Yeah, this works for Lesnar. This is how you get Lesnar over, using Lesnar's own words. That way they can edit them together. So they might give him a list of things to say threatening, like steak, dog, bark,
urine,
chew,
vomit,
urine, blood, vomit.
So you're just saying that WWE's just cobbled together a soundboard for these packages?
Yes. And you know what? It would work, because it's better than giving Brock Lesnar a live mic. Paul, say something stupid. Well, I love that line. That was very Steiner of him to do. I mean, you can't give the guy a live mic. We're not going to get anything as good as Steiner math. We're just going to get, I'm going to beat you up. No, we need the Lesnar soundboard. If you're not going to have Heyman talking for Brock Lesnar, then you need to just do the soundboard. And really, somebody just needs to take random words that Lesnar has said and cut them into a soundboard, because that would be awesome.
There would be no words. It would just be Wah!
That would be one of them.
Yeah, the problem with Lesnar when you start when you get him to like speak in complete sentences, you get sentence fragments like, I don't know if your dad sat at the side of the bed, side of your bed, and then he just gives like the serious face.
There is a Brock Lesnar soundboard.
I'm gonna drink a Coors Light. That's a Coors Light because Bud Light won't pay me nothing. And hell, I might even get on top of my wife tonight. See?
Sounds like Steiner.
Almost. Oh, but they're all MMA quotes here.
Yeah, of course. Can you guys share that link in the live chat? We'll also share that link in the show notes. Some of the audio did come over my recording,
yeah.
So that's good. That'll work. Okay, cool. I think it's compelling. I do like this. This is something that we were very positive about when Lesnar first came back. They were doing like the UFC style interviews, and that was really cool. And then they just stopped doing them. We got more in-ring stuff. We got more of just Heyman, and of course we are just we're still getting some just Heyman stuff. But I do like these video packages. That's something that WWE has really done well with over the last 2 years. Are these video packages, these interviews, how they splice everything together is very, very cool. So I'm all for this. I mean, I would rather have this sell a match than Brock and Cena in the ring together, because this sells. I mean, to me, this sells, and I think they've figured out a way to accommodate what Lesnar isn't necessarily good at, which is being on a live mic, but still sell a match how they normally do, which are these small soundbite scripted type stuff. So yeah, overall, I think this is cool. Any chance at Night of Champions they have John Cena tap out?
No, John Cena would pass out before he taps out.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that. A tap out, on the other hand, would kind of solidify the idea that John Cena, or not Cena in particular, but the WWE wants to bring up that next top guy. They want a replacement in case something ever happens to Cena, because Cena, he's only got a limited amount of time left. So whether that be returning Daniel Bryan, we went into who could replace Cena last week, I think. So I'm not going to get into that again, but I don't consider a tap out likely, but if they did, that would be a massive swerve.
It'll definitely be surprising. I mean, just because of what we know about Cena, never give up. That's been his mantra for the last 10 years, it seems. So to have him give up, I think would be odd. Appropriate, though. I'd be down with it. I'd like to see it, but I don't think it's likely. At the same time, I don't necessarily like the scenario you guys are suggesting as far as him passing out or, the match just being called, just because we've seen that already with Rusev versus Swagger so recently. I think it would be odd to see that again in this high profile. And it is a high profile match in your main event, and WWE fans, generally speaking, like a clean finish or some kind of finish in that main event. For this to be a pass out, or for this to be, the referee calls the match because Cena can't continue, I think that would get some major heat. So I don't know.
Do you think that's the kind of thing they were supposed to do last time with the Extreme Rules match, when Cena could barely move his arm and it was basically saying he was done? And then all of a sudden they probably went, shit, no, we need you for other storylines. So you're working tomorrow. I mean, because it seems like they're lining up a similar idea that Cena, you know what I mean?
Yeah. What you're suggesting, I think if that's not what they were intending, I think that would have been a better way to do it. Because then we wouldn't have to talk about whether or not Cena is going to pass out rather than tap out. This would be the definitive end for it. Which I think this almost has to be, at least for the foreseeable future.
You know what would be really cool? If this is them writing out John Cena. I know it'll never happen, but it'd be perfect. Just saying.
Yeah.
All right, so we got to talk about Bray Wyatt. Obviously, Bray Wyatt was used once again to put John Cena over. So why Bray Wyatt? Why not anyone else on the roster? Why do they have to use Bray Wyatt in this spot again to make John Cena look like, you know, the wrestling Superman?
They're really short on high-profile heels. I think that's the overriding reason for it. There's just nobody left that's as high profile as Bray Wyatt that's not already in the Authority storyline.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I was going to say that he's getting to be more popular than John Cena with a lot of fans, so they have to knock that shit off. It could just be a random Vince moment. Oh, fuck it. That Bray Wyatt, he took the last meatball at catering. He's going to lose tonight. You know, I mean, it could be something crazy like that. God only knows. I really wish they wouldn't do that. If anybody's going to take the pin, it had to, you know, it's Harper, Rowan. Those guys can take it. You know,
Well,
you don't have to hurt the figurehead who's excelling.
Wasn't it Harper that actually took the loss?
I could have sworn it was Bray, but maybe I could be remembering wrong.
I thought
Either way, at the end of the match, Cena basically got one over on everyone. The entire Wyatt family was on their backs while Cena stood tall.
And Big Show and Mark Henry on the outside going, yeah.
Cena standing tall, I don't have an issue with, because if you're going to have Lesnar win again, having Cena build himself back up to a position where he thinks he could challenge Lesnar, and then just have Lesnar break him down again, I think that makes for a compelling story. The issue I have is that it was Bray.
Yeah, me too. And that's it. I mean, it's just that they used Bray here. Out of anyone else on the roster, I think it would have been fine.
The issue is there's just not anybody to challenge Cena on that level, except for Bray. That's not already in the Authority. I mean, 6 months ago we had Del Rio, we had Mark Henry. Well, maybe Mark Henry. He was kind of straddling that line. But we had Del Rio, Mark Henry. You could have brought the Big Show back as a heel. The WB had options, but then they went either turned everybody face or they fired him. So.
All right, so real quick, Kevin Crittenden posted on Facebook that he thinks that WWE just killed off the Wyatt family as a credible threat for the foreseeable future because of how Raw ended. Do you agree with that statement real quick?
No, not in the least. If it had been Jericho that did it, or God forbid RVD or somebody else like that, then maybe. But you're facing off against Super Cena here. I mean, no matter how badly Lesnar jacked him up, he's still the top guy. So for the Wyatts to lose to Cena and his crew for the night, it sucks, but that doesn't write off Bray forever.
The kill off Bray Wyatt has been incredible. I don't think they did. It's just a bummer that we had to have Cena do this. I mean, you could have ended the night with a count out. You could have done all kinds of things to not do this. That being said, you know Bray can come back. He's gonna jibba jab his jaw, and he'll be back right in the fans' good graces. Do we want to see him have more wins? Of course we do. We like Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and I think that was also said by Adrian on Facebook. I can't remember exactly who, but I think it was Adrian, and he said, that it's not a kill-off because John Cena is seen as basically the top guy or one of the top guys. If the Wyatt family were destroyed by like a lower level team, then yeah, any momentum that they had would have been ruined because they were beat by a lower end team, but they weren't here. They were beaten by the top guy. So it's not as bad. John Cena still has that credibility, therefore they still have that credibility. And Adrian does confirm that was him. Thanks. Thank you. So Diva Jill also put in that they completely ruined the Cena storyline by having him show up last night on Raw because Cena, after the beating that he took, should have taken off at least a month. Do you agree with that? That how they brought Cena back and the fact that Cena seemed to be totally cool and not breaking a sweat and beating people again, that they ruined the storyline?
I don't think they necessarily ruined the storyline, but it was piss poor. Sell the injury, man. You got your ass handed to you. Like, there was no qualms about that. There was no other interpretation. John Cena got the shit beat out of him. He shouldn't have ever. He should have taken time off to sell it. What happened to that? What happened to those times? Like, Sandman gets a cigarette to the eye and then he's out for 6 weeks. Like, sell the storyline. Go home. Bang a Bella. Do something.
Yeah, I've got kind of mixed feelings about this because on the one hand, yeah, after the beating Cena took and the way he did sell that beating, he shouldn't be all better after just a week. If he was going to come back at all last night, he should have been selling something. And
then Zack Ryder should have pushed him off the stage in a wheelchair.
We could only hope. On the other hand, we've already said it. He is Super Cena, and WWE starts panicking when ratings dip a little bit because Cena has been on for a few weeks. So, as loath as they are to have Cena off TV for legitimate injuries, storyline injuries, I feel, don't even rank in comparison. I don't think they care about that as far as Cena is concerned. So, I do agree that it would have been better for the storyline if Cena been out a little longer, but I don't think they've ruined it. Not as far as the mythos goes.
I agree that it didn't necessarily ruin the story, but yeah, I mean, by far, Cena got destroyed worse than any other person that I can remember. Like, obliterated at SummerSlam and is back this week to destroy again. It doesn't make sense. No, I think for sure they should have kept him off TV to sell stuff.